Bays and estuaries are important to everyone. More than one-third of Texas' population and about 70% of our industry and jobs are located within 100 miles of the coast. Almost 5 million people live in the 18 counties adjacent to the Gulf. More than a third of all the oil and gas production in the entire United States takes place on the Texas Gulf Coast. Oil and gas development has long been a mainstay of the Texas Gulf Coast economy, providing jobs and billions of dollars in economic activity, delivering our nation needed energy supplies. This development has impacted the coast in many ways. Many of our industrial areas, business centers, and communities have been built on what were once coastal wetlands, estuaries, and islands. About half of Texas coastal wetlands are now gone. Bay and estuary bottoms are crisscrossed with canals to allow for boat commerce and promote petroleum development, but this drastically alters bay and estuary water flow patterns. We depend on our bay and estuary waters to treat our waste and assimilate our pollution as well. We also have more marine commerce than any other state, and this involves ships carrying various goods. Texas has 10 large seaports and over 420 miles of the Gulf Intercoastal Waterway. The Gulf Intercoastal Waterway is a protected channel used primarily by large barges and tugboats to transport goods all along the Texas coast and eastward to Louisiana and beyond. The channel is continually dredged or kept deep by digging out sediments that fill the channel. This allows large vessels to use it without scraping bottom. Larger and smaller boats, such as oil field and fishing boats, are protected from large waves, storms, and strong currents that may form in the Gulf. This waterway is just like a giant highway for ships. Texas estuaries annually produce over 100 million pounds of seafood, valued at between $150 to $250 million per year. Saltwater recreational fishing generates an estimated $2 billion, and coastal tourism provides $5.4 billion in economic activity annually to the state. Activities tied to the health of our bays and estuaries have contributed to making tourism the third largest industry in Texas, right after oil and gas production and agriculture. Nature lovers from all over the world also visit the Texas coast. They come to see rare species. Tourism for just the whooping crate alone results in over $6 million to the Texas coastal economy. These values are easy to add up, but there are less apparent benefits, such as how healthy estuaries provide ecosystem services that we all depend on. These include things like treating municipal wastes, diluting industrial discharges, and supporting wetlands that protect our communities from storm surges. Texas bays and estuaries are often windy places too, due to thermal breezes. These are winds created as a result of temperature differences between the land and ocean. In spring months, the land heats up quickly during the day. Now, this creates lower air pressure over the land. The land is much warmer than the ocean waters, which take a lot longer to warm up. This creates thermal winds during many afternoons along the Texas coast as the cooler or higher air pressure, the cooler ocean air flows toward the warmer land, creating an onshore wind. Now, these winds can reverse at night if the land cools off and the air on land becomes cooler than the air over the ocean. Windy days make Texas bays and estuaries places many people come to enjoy windy water sports such as sailing, kiteboarding, and windsurfing. Over the last 100 years, our coastal ecosystems have changed dramatically. About 50% of Texas coastal wetlands have been filled. They've eroded away, or they've otherwise been destroyed. Up to 60% of the seagrass beds are gone, and over 50% of the oyster reefs no longer exist. These habitats depend on an adequate supply of fresh water coming out of the rivers each year. But in some years, more water has been promised to users upstream, such as in cities and farmers and upstream of the coast, than even flows in the entire river for an entire year. While there are efforts by conservation groups and government environmental agencies to restore some coastal habitats and provide freshwater inflow to our bays and estuaries, the loss of bay and estuary habitat for aquatic species continues to be the greatest threat to our coastal economies and the marine life that we depend on for food and the coastal economy. Compounding this challenge is that our coastal region is one of the fastest developing in the world. It's also vital to the economy of the United States.